Good afternoon and welcome to Rubbin Minds. I am Oscar Onyiso. Great to have you this Sunday afternoon. Hope you're okay, hope you're fine. And most especially if you're a woman out there, happy International Women's Month to you. Two of our guests will actually be touching more on that. We're going to kick off this afternoon talking about the just concluded elections. Over 78 million registered voters, but less than 35% of them turned up. One of the lowest turnout when it comes to elections. I have some of the analysts, the lawyer and analyst here to talk about that. What went right, what went wrong with the just concluded elections. Also, we're going to have a fantastic, beautiful, talented guest. She is known in the corridors of Nollywood, but she has taken on a new project that has shed more light on the skin. What is that about? We'll stick out and find out. And also another woman who has been able to return to the tune of about 36 million naira since 2006. She has become quite a phenomenon online. She is a cleaner with a heart of gold. All these and much more on Rubbin Minds. I'm going to kick off first with our two guests here. We have a lawyer, Chukwuka Azwatalam, who is here with us, and of course, Fola Daniel, public analyst as well. Great to have you guys on Rubbin Minds.
Pleasure to see you again, too.
Okay, so Chukwuka is his first time, so he needs to take a deep breath and just relax.
Yeah.
Just imagine this is not a courtroom. It is not a courtroom. Anyway, let's touch on very quickly, guys. 2019 election, it has come, it has gone. We had quite the buzz online and a lot of expectations for these elections, but as everything unwound, especially with the postponement, we had a lot of apathy, people not turning out. Over 82 million registered voters, less than 35% showed up. What do you think happened?
Let me start by saying that I'm one of those who didn't turn up. Yeah, sadly.
Let's lock this man up.
And that's because I didn't turn up because I didn't think I was going to be protected at the polling units. I didn't feel safe going out to vote. And so despite the whole noise on social media and on WhatsApp, encouraging people to vote, and on election days, I sat down back in my house. And when the drama that played out in parts of Lagos played out on the days of the presidential election played out, I felt justified that, yes, I would have gone out there and I would have been victimized.
Fola, what about you? Did you come out to vote?
No, I didn't too. And it's owing to what I call systemic disenfranchisement. And when I say systemic disenfranchisement, most times we're looking at voter apathy and we're forgetting one thing, which is bigger than the voter apathy. It's the systemic disenfranchisement. For example, I was forced to eventually register for this election in Ondo State. At the time of election, I'm in Lagos. How am I supposed to vote? But if it is not systemic disenfranchisement, I can register anywhere and vote from anywhere. What exactly is the purpose of the card reader? I mean, did you procure a card reader just so it can verify the identity of the voter? We're putting it to waste. If all the card reader does is just to verify the identity of the voter. With a card reader, I should be able to vote anywhere. And once I vote, I cannot go to another polling unit and vote.
I agree.
There are quite a number of issues. The other thing, for example, some people, actually according to INEC, there were over 84 million voters, registered voters. But you see, many of these people registered in places close to their offices and couldn't vote because they will be far away from their offices and there will be no movement.
Yeah.
Somehow, just like it is done in the United States, we've got to be able to vote without restricting movements.
I think the issue of technology came on. A couple of the discussions and comments were, but I think is it the law, the constitution, or whatever it is, has not yet evolved, that there needs to be a change in how, well, the laws that are...
You have to vote where you register.
Yeah, I think
there has to be a change of law for all that to take effect.
Yes, but INEC also has the Electoral Act. Unfortunately, the 2019 amendments could not go into force because the president refused to sign it, citing the nearness to the elections. But INEC could have also done that by regulation because they have powers to modify. Card reader came in 2015 by regulation, not by law. And so they could have also gone ahead to use a regulation to put in place these things. Because in 2011, when I was in law school, I registered in Kano. In 2015, I couldn't vote because, well, when my friend went to get PVCs from the local government in Kano, they told us that they had lost all the data. And so that systemic disenfranchisement comes in. Now, the data is missing. We don't have, but we couldn't vote, and we wanted to vote. And in 2019, I had a PVC. I registered in Onikon. I work in Ikoyi. I live in Surulere. I couldn't go out because I didn't feel safe, but I could have done that from the comfort of my house. MBA elections are done online. Nobody goes anywhere physically to vote. We vote. Over 100,000 lawyers sit down in your office, on your phone, on your laptop, and we vote. And the elections are, I must say, very credible, even though people have complaints, but then it's usual.
The role of technology, let me just touch on that very quickly. Do you think technology will fast track the process in terms of making it more efficient? Absolutely. Or do you think it's going to give room for tampering? I mean, we have some of the most advanced democracies in the world that have been exposed, so to speak.
Technology makes it the easiest way for us to have a credible election. Yes. Because everything is real time. Take, for example, I know a bit of digital marketing. If I go online right now, I can tell you how many people are on a website, the countries they're coming from, how much time they're spending on my website. So with technology, I can tell exactly how many people are voting from the remote villages that we have. And as soon as they are voting, their votes are counting immediately. Do you know that one of the biggest problems we had with this election and the previous ones is that the vote scores actually change between the polling unit and the collation center. But with technology, you can't change it anymore. Because as soon as you vote, everything is summed up immediately. There's a large screen somewhere in situation room for INEC, and we're seeing everything simultaneously. If I vote via SMS, there's somebody who is seeing everything. And it's not just one person who has access to it. Take, for example, just as the agents of all the political parties are told to come and sign, this time around, you're not told to sign. You're told to stand in, sit in, and witness how the results are coming in from all. So technology will reduce the possibility. Now, if there will be tampering, which we can eliminate, then INEC and several other, you will clearly know who is tampering. So you know who exactly to deal with. Right now, you don't know who to deal with.
Let's talk about the inconclusive elections. Provided the technology is an idea that will be birthed very soon, what do you think can be done based on the experience of this election to avoid that? We had a lot of inconclusive election results.
I think that we've not, so far we've been rewarding bad behavior with inconclusive elections. If I go up against you in an election and maybe this place is your strong points, and I find I can't get votes from there, and I need votes from there to win, all I need to do is activate some thugs, and they will come and disrupt the process here. And INEC decides to allow a re-election at some later date when I would have regrouped and probably muzzle you out, as happened in Osun State, where people complained of not being able to vote when they were for a particular party and allowed to vote when they were for a particular party. So what happens is we've not punished anybody that has been fingered or named in any of those election incidents. If we had punished one big fish, I can tell you that everybody would go back and re-strategize. Until we punish offenders, it will keep happening.
Do you think that's just an INEC thing or a general Nigerian thing, where people who flout the law don't get punished?
It's our anyhowness.
For me, I think that technology will actually get rid of having more inconclusive elections, in the sense that, for example, why do we have inconclusive elections? One of the reasons is because of cancelled votes. Why do we have cancelled votes? Sometimes there are people, or cancelled or invalid votes. Sometimes people are thumb printing across the lines. If you're voting electronically, that will not happen, because you're using either a touch screen, so you're seeing what you're sending or something. So we reduce the number of invalid votes. There will be no cancelled votes, because it's not a situation where the voting process was disrupted. You can't disrupt voting via my smart screen or an SMS. You can't disrupt that. So because you can't disrupt that, there will be limited cases of inconclusive elections. And before you even think of how to disrupt this whole thing, I've concluded the voting process. And just like you rightly said, I'm at home and I'm voting. So we may come to a time when there are no polling units and elections are going on. So I think that one of the things the Night Assembly should really push is how, well, let's be realistic.
Please do.
I don't think that electronic voting will happen in 2023. But what I do think we can make happen is the possibility of being able to vote from wherever you are. Let's revise the electoral laws such that with the card readers, you can access my card. Even though I registered in Katangora, I can still vote in Lagos.
Chukwuka, how long do you think that process will take? You've been a lawyer.
Well, it depends. If the politicians are interested, They can do it in a year. They can revamp the laws in a year. The framework is there. It's just to remove the sections that don't work and add new sections and look at what's happening in India. India is as larger than Nigeria, and they have electronic voting, they have normal voting. It just depends. And
you mean 5 times the size of Nigeria?
Yeah, 5 times the size of Nigeria. But they have their electoral processes on lockdown. In India, you can vote. You can choose to vote electronically. You can vote by going to the polling unit. Election materials do not get scattered away because the cars that carry them from the Electoral Commission are tracked. Here you see videos of INEC using rickety buses, the same buses we don't want to enter when we're going to work, carry ballot materials on election day. Nobody knows the driver, nobody has his number. If he decides to drive from Igondo to Lekki, how are you going to trace him? You know, if somebody stops him on the way and says, guy, park this car here, he's going to do that. But NIPOST has an effective way of moving mails. The CBN has an effective means of moving money. I'm yet to hear of a CBN bullion van being robbed. Why can't we use them to move ballot materials and improve this whole thing? And
the other thing,
yes,
just maybe as a way to, I guess you're about to wrap up.
No, it's okay for that.
Okay, the other thing is, you know, one of the things we've been omitting over the years is, I go to any ATM anywhere in the world and I'm able to use my debit card. My voter's card should be able to work like that. Do you know that how does the bank track the fact that I've used Bank B 3 times, even though I actually bank with Bank A, and then they debit me the 3rd time in Bank B? The same thing should happen.
I think, Fola, Chukat, you and a lot of Nigerians are on the same page about how effective technology will be. I think the issue is the willingness to make it happen. So
the other thing we should do is, for example, maybe you and I, going on from here, should not keep quiet. For example, let us write open letters. Let us keep shouting about it. The way vote, not fight, was trending before the election. Let's talk about give us electronic voting. I vote from anywhere. Let's start shouting about it from now.
I actually know a group of people on Twitter who are coming together to create a framework for electronic voting. The group is anchored by a young lady. I really can't remember her name. I saw it on Twitter. Somebody tagged me to it on Twitter, and I joined. And they're trying to create things to allow us. You know, the dream of that group is that by 2023, Nigerians will be able to vote either from their phones, from their laptops, or from the ATM machines. It
will make things a lot easier. I had a similar problem when it came to presidential. I had to literally relocate from the mainland to the island, and when it was postponed, I came back.
I wanted to travel.
I don't even want to go into. I don't want to go into
all the way to Ondo.
I don't even want to go into the parties who had to spend the logistics of it was a complete nightmare. But let me touch on very quickly let's focus on those who did come out. Yes. Why do you think people came out to vote? For those who did come out, what do you think moved them?
For some people, a lot of people are voting for the first time in their lives. And so for a lot of them, it was that the novelty, let me go and vote. Happened to me in 2007. My first time voting. And
let's put it, they shock you.
Yeah, they shock you. I was there as early as 7 a.m. at the time. So, and they told me, the material hasn't come. I had to go back and come back again because I just wanted to have the ink on my finger. For some other people, it was enough is enough. We need to change the order of things. For some people, they felt our guys are doing well. We have to reward them with a new term. So people had different reasons why.
What about you, Fola? Discussing with other people that came out.
There were party affiliations. There were people who thought that if this party remains in power, some of the good things that I've been saying will continue. So if we don't go out to vote for them, these things will stop. And there were people who were aligning with some personalities and preferred to the others. So if you prefer a personality and you stay at home, you don't vote for that person, you know that person has the tendency to lose. So it was because of some personalities. In fact, it had nothing to do with party. You look at the things that happened in Kano, for example, where APC won at the presidential level, but then lost at the gubernatorial level. So there were some personality issues and there were some party affiliations. And in some other cases, it was a religious thing because we had undertones of religious leaders mobilizing people to vote for a certain candidate or vote against a certain candidate. So that happened.
Do you think it was?
I didn't think it worked like that because
I was about to say
that. It didn't eventually work. The mobilization was there, but it didn't eventually work out the way they wanted it to.
Yeah, because in the Southwest there was a lot of, and in the South there's a lot of pastors and religious
leaders. I think they were a lot more involved this time around, more than ever.
There's a lot of people felt and do feel that there's a lot more at stake now, because it's like this is the time when we have to prepare for the future. In 2023, I do not see any of the political actors being maybe in the background, yes, but contesting, I really don't think so.
Talking about contesting, we had a lot of candidates, different people. Celebrities, influential people, businessmen who were for the first time coming out. Yes. Do you think this trend will repeat in the next 4 years?
I think it will. I think it will, and I think that in a few cases, it will bolster the other people who don't have confidence to even want to contest. Because if you take the fact that Banky came up like 3 months to the elections or thereabouts, and he did well, even though he didn't win. But I think that is that ability to say I can do it and see that yes, he's actually done it.
Paula, do you think that translates to votes? Because you had people who were very outspoken, very vocal, very articulate, but when it came to the numbers just didn't add up. Why do you think that is?
Over the years, I've written a paper called moving from paper politics to pragmatic politics, what the intellectuals need to note. You see, in Nigeria, there are some things we call structure, and then there is affiliation. If you're contesting on the wrong platform, I mean a party that doesn't have structure, you may sound good, but you may not win, because your party needs structure. And if your party doesn't have that structure, you will spend money, but you may not win. But in a few cases, maybe if it's at the grassroots, you may win without the structure. But at the top, you can't win without the structure. You need that structure. So they are good people, they are nice people, but they needed structure. I mean, somebody like Ganifa who didn't win a presidential election, he's a good person, but his party doesn't have the structure.
So are you saying that come 4 years from now, if you don't belong to maybe APC or PDP?
APC or PDP?
No, I don't think that's what he's saying. I think what he's saying is start now to build the structure. Yes. Because my auntie contested in Imo State, where she wanted to go to the house, and she came second. She was lucky. But she contested under a party called MAJA, Mass Action Joint Alliance. That she came second is because her theories resonated with women and young people.
Yeah.
But she didn't have the structure, so I think somehow in my heart I knew she wasn't going to win, but I had hoped that somehow she would win. But
what would be your scorecard to INEC based on this election? Over 10.
Over 10?
Yeah.
Over 10.
I'll give INEC 4.
I'll give them 5. I'll give them 5 because...
4 because they could do better with logistics.
Yeah, they could have done a lot of things better, but I think that this election there's a lot less blood and death than in 2015. As peaceful and as smooth 2015 was, 2019 has less people dying than 2015.
But we had more people registered, would you say?
Yes, we did.
We'll just have to wait and see. A lot of lessons learned from
Then the ASU strike didn't also help because a lot of young people registered in their school and they were at home for the elections. And so those things played a part.
Okay, thank you very much, gentlemen. I would definitely want to see what happens. I'm for the opinion that the technology will play a very vital role. A lot of people have placed the argument of if you have your BVN number, if you have all these numbers, why can't we do that? So that would be a major takeaway for INEC if they can make that happen, and hopefully we'll see something much better. What do you think has been the greatest lessons you've taken away from this election? Just one lesson.
Elections are not won on social media.
Strategy. We must be more strategic.
Strategy. Elections are not won on social media. Okay. Thank you very much, guys. I hope to catch you again. Still, Rubbin Minds will be back after the break. This time, joining me is a beautiful lady who is extremely talented, but she put on her production cap as a producer and director to bring out a documentary that touched on a very sensitive issue. We'll meet her after this on Rubbin Minds.